Shalom, shalom,
Shalom.
shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. We give double honors to our apostles of Great Millstone, whom rule well over us. Salutation to the sincere brothers pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives week in and week out to feed the elect of Israel. Shalom for the 144,000. Shalom to the 1/3. My name is Brother Ahab.
It's the brother Ratazar.
Now we're going to talk about today Nero. The title today is Nero is a tool for the other nations to hate Babylon. Right?
So Ratazar, today in this lesson, Ratazar going to keep it concise as well. And, going to get into the article and read, just going to get into that cruel Lord, man. In fact, before that, Ratazar will start with the precept, Isaiah 19 and verse 4.
Yes. This is Isaiah 19 verse 4. And the Egyptians will give over into hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts.
Go on. So that cruel Lord is really reference to Nero, today, which AKA, Nero who ruled during the Roman Empire, but that is Donald Trump right now. So that's the cruel Lord of which the Egyptians have been given the hand onto, and of course they're really feeling it too, man. Especially with the recent incident of Minneapolis, I believe Minnesota as well. The ice events that have been happening. One who, of course, we won't get into names. But of course that agent who shot that woman, in Minneapolis. They had multiple angles there. Of course, that's also an example of Egyptians being against the Egyptians. In fact, I think if you read from, well, actually read from verse 1. Verse 1.
Okay.
Let's see.
Isaiah 19, yeah.
Yeah, Egyptian against Egyptian.
Isaiah 19 and
verse 1.
Okay, this is Isaiah 19 verse 1 from the top. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved as his presence. And
is that the verse 1?
Yes, verse 1.
Yeah, so as Yahushua, as the scriptures have said, Yahushua is going to come in with the clouds as well. Those clouds are reference to chariots. So in that glory and power, he's then going to demolish all the idols of Egypt as well. But just start again and then finish verse 1.
Isaiah 19 again, verse 1. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
Yeah, that's also, you can even see that as more of a sign as well, that Egypt, aka America, because there's many terms that's used to refer to the modern day America. For example, the Chaldeans, you got Babylon as well as another reference, and of course you got there as Egypt as well. That's also another reference to America. Of course, in certain biblical scriptures, of course, when you read Exodus, it's actually talking about the old Egypt where the Hamites were ruling as well. And Yaratazar, in a future video I'll probably I could get into it as well, but that's for a future video. But Balshah, could you read verse 2?
Verse 2.
Yeah.
And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
Yeah, so again, the key phrase there in Isaiah 19 and verse 2 is that the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, will set Egyptian against Egyptian. You could translate that as American versus American, man. So in that time, in this time that we're living in, of course, you could already see it with, the ice troops. It's like from face value, Edomite versus Edomite.
Yeah.
Political ideologies versus political ideologies. The left versus the right. Liberals versus the Republicans, if I recall correctly. Democrats versus Republicans, people who have different ideologies. Yes. Which ideology just means it's a way of thinking. So of course, one person thinks one way, they believe it to be true, and they stand true to that. They commit to that. And another person has a controversial belief that, goes against the other person's belief. Then, there's going to be some friction even amongst Edom as well.
Yes.
So another example is this movie called Civil War, of which me and the brothers, Captain and one of the brothers as well, we went to go and watch, in the cinema a few years ago. And, it was pretty much a case of, okay, where do your beliefs stand? That famous phrase, which you probably hear the captain say every now and then during camp. What type of American are you? That's the thing. What type of American are you? Which basically said, if you want to get into the nitty gritty, where do your beliefs lie? Who do you support?
Right.
So in that, we're living in those times where it's like, okay, when things are just building up right now. The friction is just building up. And the Most High is going to turn up that heat as well, man. He's going to turn up that heat to the point where the Civil War is going to be... That's pretty much like getting to a deeper level into Jacob's trouble, where, things are going to be chaotic. People are going to be scared going outside as well. Hence why you got to have faith and commit. You got to know that Yahweh Shem Shai is protecting you in those times, man. We're not doing these works in vain. The Most High is not unrighteous to forget your works. That's the thing. So, that's the... actually,
you want to
finish verse 2?
Oh, we finished verse 2. You want to go to... We read 4. You want to go to 3, or are you okay there?
3.
Go to 3. Yeah. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And verse 4 again.
No. Actually, I got a precept to support that as well, because the Most High told Esau, to go to his astrologers, prognosticators. So those guys who... I'm about to get the precept up, so just let me just read it again, man.
Right. Isaiah 19 and 3. The spirit of Egypt shall fail. We see that happening in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards.
Go on, man. So actually, I thought it was in Jeremiah 49 is similar, but I'll get the Isaiah 47 because I believe it's there.
Right.
So just bear with me up, Kim. Really, it says it for itself. Really. So let me get the precepts here. So just hold on. So it says here. Alright, I'll start from this. Pertaining to Esau, Edom, this is Isaiah 47 and verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments, because Esau's into witchcraft.
Yeah.
He goes to his, he consults with his left-hand side demons, to give him advice on what to do in this time and how to achieve his agenda. Which it's really, Satan is on the Most High, man. So they don't realize that they're doing a foolish work anyways. So let me continue on. Isaiah 47 and verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast laboured from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, and if so thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. And it's true, getting information here and there. What does this mean? What does that mean? How can we do this? How can we avoid that? All of those, meetings that they're having secret, they're analyzing, man, how they're going to go against the Most High. All these meditations, which again, it's all a vanity, because it's like he's going to have an inevitable fail.
Yes.
Now it says in verse 13, thou art weary, so he's tired, man, in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So of course, because of all of that, the spirit of the Egyptians will fail as well. So
Yes.
I'll just read. If you
I got a
hold
quick
it,
gift. I got go back to it. I got one for you. Psalm 64 and 2.
Yeah.
Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Yeah, exactly. Hide me from the. One more time. Yeah.
Psalm 64 and 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
So, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked and the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. When it comes to the word insurrection, it talks about a great violent going against someone. For example, the 2 Ezra 16 and verse 71 says that there shall be a great insurrection against those that fear the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Verse 70 to verse 71 in 2 Ezra 16.
Yeah.
So that links to this point here, with Esau, he's going to appear to the point where, again, that's why Akim are going to become infamous as well, which is when you're famous for bad things, supposedly bad things, which, of course, in Esau's kingdom, whoever goes against the rules is going to be targeted, put on a blacklist to say as well. They're going to put a bounty upon Akim, and of course, that's when the scripture talks about, some of you shall be as pilgrims upon the earth as well. So, there's going to be those times where Akim are going to be walking out and about. Some, of course, will be cast into prison, as it says within Revelations as well. But the point is that insurrection against from the workers of iniquity, man. And of course, as David said, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. And of course, we are hidden because remember, as it says, could you get Proverbs 18 and 10?
Yes.
So that's the thing, man. We've got to have our faith, committed to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Remember Psalms, I believe Psalms 118, and actually I'll probably get as we're getting that precepts. Hold on.
You may read it?
Yeah, about sure.
This is the book of Proverbs 18 and 10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous, Salakia, the name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous runneth into it and is safe.
Exactly. The name of the Lord, the names Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. And of course, we go into the importance of those names as well, because whoever doesn't have that name, they'll be subject to the demons, to the afflictions, to the judgments of which Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is going to turn up, 2026. Of course, as these, which really, we've seen it, especially with that AJ incident, and of course, certain incidents are going to be happening for this year as well. Where judgments are going to be shooting left, right, and center. Yes. So, of course, those of us who have the names Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, it's a strong tower unto us. And of course, what is a strong tower? If you think of it like in a movie sense or in a game sense, the strong tower is really the place where people go. It's like a safe house kind of as well. You go to it and then you're protected. That's in if you perceive it in a movie sense or in a game sense as well. So in real life, which is the Most High's movie, we call on the names of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua daily. Of course, when we pray, when we're going outside, when we're coming inside as well. And of course, we fully believe that Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is protecting us, man. Yes. And of course, remember, as the scripture says, Psalms 34 and verse 7, the angels of the Lord encampeth.
Yes.
Exactly.
And can I just add to here? Acts 5 and 39. Right, because we talk about the name of the Lord is a strong tower. Yeah. But if it be of the Lord our power, the strong tower, ye cannot overthrow it. Exactly. Lest happy ye be found even to fight against the Lord our power.
Exactly. You see? So, again, supporting that, as we call upon the names of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, the angels of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him. Yeah. That's why fear and faith are essential, but to the right things, to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, not to the world, but to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, man. And of course, the Most High has his pathway for each and every brother, to increase that faith within him, and of course, to be more fearless towards the world.
Right.
So let me get into this article right now. Sometimes the presets be flowing. Yeah. So that's how it be, man. Actually, let me get this preset again before I get into the article.
You want me to get the preset for you? What was it?
No, I got it here.
You got it here, yeah? Okay.
So Psalms 118 and verse 9. It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua than to put confidence in princes. In fact, let me read verse 8. It says that Psalm, which is the same thing, but I'll read it. Psalms 118 and 8. It says, it is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, than to put confidence in man. You know, so because if you put confidence in man, an example of that is really putting confidence in the government, thinking that, oh, okay, I'm just going to save some money, make some preparations, which of course there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to use wisdom as well to know that, okay, even if I made preparations, if the Most High sent an angel to me to say, okay, you got to leave your house, you got to leave your house, man. That's the thing, because again, pilgrims upon the earth. So that's also an example of faith as well. So those people, those of the world, 2/3 of Israel, Zechariah 13 and 8, as well as the wicked Israelites across the world, if they put their faith in the governments, they will be, confounded. They're going to be surprised. They're going to realize that, oh, damn, we should have not been trusting the government.
Oh, I got a precept to back you up here.
Go on,
Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord.
Go on, Malksha, one more time.
Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, to be trusting the works of Egypt. Of course, which, if you actually observe what's going on with the AI technology, you got Elon Musk as well and some other robotic companies. I think Nvidia as well is one of them too, of whom is not exposing, but rather releasing these robotics that will be used in people's homes. Kind of like the movie iRobot. I'm yet to see it, but I've only seen like certain clips. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it one day as well. But the point is that with Esau's technologies, it's going to increase people's faith within them, but that's going to be in vain. Right. And again, from there, as Esau's, performing his false miracles as well, and just pretty much blinding the eyes of people, saying that, look at it. They're going to say, look at this, look at that. That's cool. You could probably get this. They're going to worship the beast, man. That's right, the thing. Right. That's going to be all part of it. But nevertheless, of all of that, for the men of Yahweh Shem Yashai will have the wisdom and the knowledge given to us through Harakh Kodash, of course, through the reasoning of the scriptures, to know that this is all just illusions and just a thing to manipulate the people. So, of course, they won't deceive the very elect. Right. So the article, let me get into the article right now. Because, we went to Nero, and, Nero's been quite active recently, from the beginning of, I believe it was really from the beginning of last year, latter parts of December, President Maduro, they got captured from Venezuela, and then now Trump was trying to take over the oil, trying to sell it, but he failed with the Exxon boss. You could look up articles on that. That was one thing. Another thing as well, he was targeting Greenland now, which the Danish Prime Minister said, if you target it, NATO's going to be no more. Yeah. But then, of course, now, Trump is also humbling down. An example is because, I'm going to get into that article right now, but also another one where they said they're going to withdraw from Iran as well, so which I did it with, there was a video that I did with another brother as well, the brother Arya as well, for brothers that do know him. I believe the channel name is Arya, yeah, what's up as well, or GMS Arya, yeah, what's up. But yeah, so the point is that Iran as well, Trump has withdrawn or held back from trying to attack Iran because he's trying to get into the affairs of Iran, considering that they've been killing their own protesters as well, their own citizens. So Trump's trying to, again, get into their affairs. Which is how Esau is, he thinks that he can just be dealing with everyone and anyone. Another example is Nigeria as well. He's trying to pretty much deal with the Muslim side, trying to just quench that whatever, war or battles were going on there, because again, they were killing the Christians in Nigeria. So of course, Trump's, the cruel Lord, as we read in the beginning, Isaiah 19 and verse 4, he's the one who's trying to dibble and dabble into all these nations, man. Yeah. So let me get into the article now. So from the Independent, .co.uk. It's a UK news outlet. This it says here. Hold on. Let me refresh it quickly just to see, because it's like a live news article. It says here, Trump Greenland latest. So of course related to the Greenland situation. U.S. President claims NATO deal with hold on, Salaki. U.S. President claims NATO deal will give him total access as Danish PM arrives on the island. So of course Trump still has his eyes on Greenland, man. And of course, let me read this as well. It says, and the article again released Friday, 23rd January 2026, which I believe is today. Yeah, it's today. Just updated 9 p.m. So anyways, it says the U.S. president angers allies by claiming NATO troops stayed a little back from front lines in Afghanistan. Let me read on here. Because of course, remember NATO, America is part of NATO as well. So that's why they're saying, that's why the Danish Prime Minister said, all right, if you dare touch Greenland, initially that is, if you dare touch Greenland, you're finished. There ain't going to be no such thing as NATO. So of course, that's, before I continue the article, Babsha, could you get, you could hold that, and then get, actually, what do you have? You could read.
No, I was talking about that for later.
For later.
Because he's proud. He's proud.
Yeah.
What you want me to get for you?
Revelation 17 and 16, Babsha.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's Trump for you, that pride of Esau, Edom, trying to dibble dabble in everyone's matters and say, all right, that's mine. Yes, there ain't no one that's going to do anything to avoid my will.
Yes.
Which is, again, it should be as the Most High, Isaiah 14 and 14. It wants to be like a God and, make his commands. Yeah. But the Most High is going to shake up his plan, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
Come on, so the 10 horns, of course, that's referring to the NATO, the original nations of the EU, so of course NATO and the EU being the beast, and of course all of those nations there, they're seeing America as well. Babsha, could you just read the whole thing?
Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked.
Yeah, exactly. So, is that it?
No, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
Yeah, so that's spiritual as well. That's spiritual because of the fact that before I go into that, NATO and the EU nations, they're gonna go against Babylon the Great, aka America. So of course, them going against America, of course, is reflected by the nuclear missiles. I said within Joel 2, as a great army, we don't need to get that because Joel 2 have already practically quoted it. That great army is representative of the nuclear missiles which will be sent from these other nations to Babylon the Great in order to demolish it completely. So thank you for reading that. But back to the article, it says, and of course Trump, again, as we said, Nero is a tool that's going to be used for the other nations to hate America. So Donald Trump, again, continue with the article. Donald Trump says the deal he claims to have reached on Greenland will give the U.S. total and indefinite access to the Danish territory. So it's like he's going up north and then he's also going down south as well when it comes to the domination. He's trying to get into the Latin American tribes as well. There was a video as well of, I watched this some weeks ago really on where Trump's going to try and target next as well. I forgot the channel name. But it mentioned about Mexico being potentially one as well. I believe Colombia being another one too. And all of these things are also connected to narco terrorism, which is what President Maduro was indicted for. He was captured and then they made an accusation on it, which is what an indictment is when you make an accusation on an individual and say, okay, this is what they've been charged. It's what you've been charged with. That's what an indictment with. So he was indicted. He was charged with narco terrorism. It's just drug trafficking,
Mhm.
and of course that's the narrative that they're gonna sell for Jake, anyways, man. So they say Mexico, Colombia, and certain other Latin American countries are also a target next as well. But again, Trump will fulfill that according to the Most High as well. And now it's going up north as well, where Greenland is, north of America. If you look at it in a world map type of sense, where Greenland is up there, and of course they say it's because of the precious metal, the rare earth materials, which you could use for electronics and whatnot. But despite that, it won't hinder their power. It won't hinder the power of Moab, man. Because of course they control most of the manufacturing when it comes to electronics, and they have those. They have an abundance of those rare earth materials too.
Yeah.
But not to get too deep into that, man. It's just you could just see it as more of a cover, distraction of what's going on. It's like, okay, this is happening, that's happening. At the end of the day, the MOTB still got to come out, and of course, recently, not to get too off topic here, but he mentioned, not Keir Starmer, it was mentioned within the news, I believe Sky News as well, saying that they're gonna they backdated or they avoided they pretty much just demolished temporarily about the digital ID. Keir Starmer said by the end of Parliament, which the end of Parliament is basically when the government party rules for. So of course I believe they got elected 2024, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 2024, the end of Parliament would be 2029.
Yeah.
If you search up when is the end of Parliament for UK, you see it's 2029.
Mm-hmm.
So that, of course that'll be when the next election is. So they're saying they scrapped it off, but of course you can use other IDs like passports, and driver's license to identify yourself. But that's just temporary. It's kind of like that time when they said I think it's 2022 when they released the news that okay, anyone who doesn't have the V card as evidence, they can still travel. Again, remember what the scriptures say when they say, in fact, let me get peace and safety.
Mm-hmm. Let me get it for you, brother.
Right, I think it should be in First Thessalonians. When they say peace and safety, there's our sudden destructions. It should be First Thessalonians 5:3. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's the thing. That's the trickery of the devil, man. Smooth words. Psalms 55:21.
1 Thessalonians 5:3.
Yeah.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as a travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
That's it, man. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety. There's news points that I just mentioned about, if anyone don't have the VC card, they'll speak in code there. The VC card during 2022, they can actually travel. That's what causes people to say, oh yeah, we've won. Edomites thinking, yeah, all this rebellion worked, and all of that. It's just vain.
Yes.
It's just temporary peace and safety, just to make you feel like, okay, yeah, we actually did have an impact. But the Most High's playing the movie, man. Certain things got to happen first before ultimate destruction. AKA the MOTB. That implant got to happen first before them nuclear missiles be happening. So things go. The Most High is making his movie in the way he's making the movie. That's it. And the Most High will do what he will. All right. So anyways, back to the article. So let's see. Donald Trump says the deal he claims to have reached on Greenland will give the U.S. total and indefinite access to the Danish territory. Speaking to reporters on his way back from Davos, Trump said the deal would be much more generous to the United States, so much more generous, while skirting questions on the territory sovereignty. So, of course, these are just, just going about how Greenland would just be. It's pretty much just a negotiation. In fact, I think it mentions something. Hold on. So it said Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen welcomed Trump's decision earlier this week to rule out military action, but said, I don't know what there is in the agreement or the deal about my country. Greenlandic MPs have, which I believe that means members of parliament for Greenland, have raised concerns that NATO and the US are negotiating a deal without their input. You see, so NATO and the US, they're negotiating how, to deal with the Greenland situation without actually having the president there to discuss these things. It says, and say Greenland must be at the table on the discussions around its future. And it's true, yeah, it makes sense for that. But again, all of this is just, you see, as a distraction as well. But at the end of the day, prophecy got to speak, man. But at the same time, you call it a distraction, but it's also like a warm-up for Babylon the Great being destroyed too. So the multiple points that I made on, Iran, and Venezuela as well. You got any pieces that you want to bring up?
Let me see some.
Because I know you were holding quite a few. Anyone. Because Babylon the Great is destined. Tell me when you're ready.
Okay.
Babylon the Great is destined, man. So for that nuclear missile destruction.
As you said, when we talk about speak of lies, Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies.
That's it. Estranged from the womb and then speaking lies. So it's in their nature to deceive people.
Yeah.
That's why the scriptures in Ecclesiasticus 12:10, you ain't gonna get. It says that never trust thine enemy. Because of course, as that scripture that you just mentioned, they're estranged from the womb, speaking lies, which means in his mouth will be deceit. And what is deceit for? To deceive people, to trick them.
That's it.
So of course this MOD probably it will be the pinnacle of the deceit that Esau will have. Hence the two-thirds gonna take it, heathens gonna take it, and the whole world's really gonna abide by Esau's rule. But that's gonna come at a very hefty cost. So anyways, let me get this precept here. It says, this is Jeremiah 50 and verse 1. The word that the Lord Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. And of course, the Chaldeans is also another reference to modern day America as well.
Yeah.
It says, declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal it not. Say Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. And it's true, there's multiple people making videos exposing Christianity, exposing Islam, and all these multiple forms of vain worship. These idols of Babylon are all breaking, and people are losing their trust.
Yes.
Again, remember, knowledge shall increase. That's multiple ways. So it says, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall depart from man and beast. And of course, where it says, for out of the north there cometh a nation against her, that north is talking about, Russia, man, that land of Russia, which aka they're also known as the Medes as well, man. So of course when you look at the old this is the one. When you look at the old map as well, let me see if I can get. I know it's here because when studying Jeremiah 50, Apostle Tahar did mention, Russia is up north.
Can you see?
I know I got it this one. Just bear with us up, Kim.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta get the point across. Hold on. So that's Israel. Hold on. I think it's in the first page. Alright, let's see. Arabia, Babylonia. Just hold on, okay. Syria, Hamath, Philistia, Samaria. Okay, no, I believe But it doesn't really show the whole map, but Yaratazar will show where it roughly would have been. So that's there, mobs there. It's got to be a bigger map. I thought I had a bigger map, but essentially, I will show it on your camera as well. Yeah, you know, you got Israel around here. You know, you probably recognize some of it, but you know, in that section there, that's where Israel is. Hold on. Yep, you know, that yellow section there is where, you know, Jake was living. But essentially, you know, up north, you know, northeast, that's where the Russians would have been residing as well. You know, I'm gonna show it to this camera as well. So yeah, this yellow area, that's where Israel was residing. You know, if I can focus it. But yeah, nevertheless, okay, you know, that's it. You know, that yellow area, that's where Israel was residing, and then northeast would have been where you know, the Russians would have been residing. So, you know, that's the little map there. So again, let's get back to Jeremiah 50. So this is Jeremiah 50, verse 3. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her. You know, again talking about the Russians, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove and they shall depart, both man and beast. Because of course, America is destined for nuclear missiles, for mass destruction. Which mass just means a large amount of destruction as well. You got a precept or
No, yeah.
Alright, calm. But yeah, so that's Jeremiah 50, and then to support that as well, it says here in Jeremiah 51 verse 25, it says, just hold on, okay, let me get the precept here. So Jeremiah 51 and verse 25, and Yaratazar, you know, get prepared to close out. Just want to make the video concise. So Jeremiah 51 and verse 25, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. The destroying mountain is a metaphor for America, you know, Babylon the Great. You know, so of course that destroying mountain, considering how they went, which again, if you think about the formation of America, you know, Europeans, British, French, Portuguese, and I believe Italy as well, when it came to the invasion of Latin America, the invasion of Garden Reuben as well, the Native American Indians. You know, that's how the formation of America came to be, man. You know, they're making settlements there. So hence, they had to destroy Jake, you know, to collect the land as well. And of course, it's not just them, but of course, they're trying to do that with the other nations. The modern day, you know, they're attacking Venezuela. They want to get on Greenland, and of course Iran as well. They're trying to get to Iran too. So again, hence the evidence for America being that destroying mountain. Saith the Lord Yahweh, which destroyest all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks. I will make thee a burnt mountain, and that's quite literal. Because Joel 2, again, the great army, those arrows are going to be, again, the arrows being the metaphor for the nuclear missiles, those are going to be sent upon Babylon the Great. And again, that's how the 2/3 are going to be cleared out. And those wicked people, wicked Edomites there, that aren't residing in the bunkers around the world, they'll be obliterated. But yeah, if you got any finishing up precepts.
I've got Revelation 18 and 16.
Yeah.
And saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in linen, in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come not to naught. And every shipmaster and all company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off.
Yeah, so of course that's again Babylon gonna be demolished in an hour when Yahushua comes back. It's gonna be cleared. You know, you're gonna have nuclear missiles. You're gonna have the chariots with lasers that's gonna add to that fire. It's gonna be burning for a good while.
Yes.
A good while, man. But anyways, Akim, you know, we've got camp tomorrow, so we've got to prepare for that as well. You know, bro's got to recover. But yeah, Yaratazar, you know, he found it edifying. And exhorting as well, Shalom to the great Muslim apostles and the elder bishops. And Yaratazai found it once more, edifying and exhorting as we say, Yahalo, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. And Yaratazar, Shalom.
Shalom.
On to the next one.
Shalom.
Shalom.